different locations, either in similar projects or in Canadian embassy events. That event actually, it's not an official event. It's I believe the Canadian embassy aim of this event is just to listen to you and to get a roadmap of what we should do actually in the future. His Excellency Ambassador Troy, the Ambassador of Canada to Egypt, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of CIC management staff, we welcome you in this session called upon the Canadian Embassy in Cairo in promotion of the Canadian education in Egypt. There are strong ties between Egypt and Canada in many areas, on the top of which comes education, and that cooperation actually for most of most of the projects running now under the Canadian education started almost more than 12 years ago. We have currently, excuse me for my bad cold actually. We have currently several education institutes in Egypt running successfully applying the Canadian educational program on various levels. Currently in the K-12 area, there are 3 schools offering the Canadian curriculum from province of Ontario, province of British Columbia, both of them are actually present here, and province of Manitoba. Unfortunately, they haven't actually accepted our invitation. In the vocational training area, Centennial College from Toronto area has a strong partnership with Gabur Group, besides several other approaches from both the Canadian and the Egyptian side to benefit from strong Canadian experience in the vocational field. That's crucial area that needs promotion and development in Egypt during this period of time. In the higher education, besides the program introduced here and there to benefit from the individual faculty and the students exchange programs, the Canadian International College CIC stands alone as a unique example and a pioneer in the field of partnership with Canada. To benefit from the many distinguished characteristics of the Canadian education academically in the field of applied learning, CIC was established in 2004 as a Cairo campus of Cape Breton University to offer CBU Canadian degrees in business administration, business technology, and engineering technology. In 2008, School of Mass Communication was established in a partnership with the University of Ottawa to offer university degree in arts with specialization in communication. Hopefully, in September of this year, we will start our computer science school. Will be partnered with University of Windsor, which we do have also right now an articulation agreement with them. Recently, we have signed another agreement with articulation agreement with University of Lakehead in Ontario. CIC has now around 5,000 students in 2 different campuses, one here in New Cairo and the second one in Sheikh Zayed. Hopefully in 2 years' time we will have another campus in Ismailia or New Ismailia city. CIC has 5,000 students enrolled in different academic schools and majors, and have CIC has almost around 1,200 students, sorry, not students, graduates in our alumni association. Almost up to 300 of them, they are right now in Canada, either students or graduates working in different places in Ontario and other provinces as well. Among us today, there are various schools who would like to benefit from introducing the Canadian education to their students. We also have a representative from the IMC Egypt, the Industrial Modernization Center. We have also, I don't know if they have come or not, Masr al-Khair and Hadithik. We have also Masr al-Khair, the largest NGO service, as a strong support for the local K-12 program, scientific research, and scholarship for study abroad. This, I think, will really empower the discussion, our discussion today, and will give it a different and a comprehensive dimension, as it should be covering more than one important topic. We hope that each of you contribute and benefit from this important session, and that we can come out by a draft paper that can draw the outline for, or a roadmap for the future cooperation between Egypt and Canada in the field of education. Finally, I would like to thank the Canadian Embassy for choosing CIC to host this important event, and I would also like to thank all the attendees, wishing them an interesting and beneficial and fruitful discussion. Thank you.
I would like now to call for His Excellency, Mr. Touair, for his brief speech.
Thank you very much. Through a few years of unrest and tumultuous times, and I think we're in a new period where things are improving. And there are many that are trying to stabilize and get back to normal the country, and education is a fundamental precept of that path and that transition. So we're committed to support Egypt on this path and to increasingly stabilize and normalize the country. And so I'm thrilled to have the connection between Egypt and Canada in all the myriad of our educational cooperation. You know, we talked, we heard about K-12 and then the universities, the students that come to Canada. I think the cooperation is strong, and what we're trying to do, what we're endeavoring to do, is to make that bond and that connection stronger. We adopted a new strategy on education for Canada, and we're trying to double the number of students that come to Canada from other countries to study, and so that's one of our key goals. And so the work that we do together here in country will indeed facilitate and support that. And I'd like to talk about how we can increase those numbers. But I'm very mindful. For me, it's not about just getting families sending their kids to Canada. What I would like to see is the bridges built, the R&D, the innovation, the partnerships between institutions in Canada and Egypt, so both countries can prosper, both countries can benefit in very practical and material ways. I spoke with Dr. Al-Kadi earlier. We were talking about vocational training. This is a critical aspect of what Egypt needs in its development programming, and we have a new minister, a new portfolio with an exclusive focus on this, and I think that will be advantageous as we go forward. We've had a number of changes within their cabinet, and I look forward to meeting with the new representatives as they tackle this enormous education challenge in Egypt. I think, you know, I'm very proud to see so many Canadian flags and so much of the Canadian emphasis here among all of the institutions in Egypt. Every time I go somewhere, I will hear, I have my children were educated in Canada, we have this goal of having them come to Canada, or we just have this connection to Canada that is special. And I think Canadian education does offer something that is far and above what other countries do. I think it's a brand, it's an approach, it's a philosophy. And so your institutions are a testament to what this Canadian approach can benefit many thousands of students who have gone through this program and continue to do so. It also, every time you have a new group of students, a new year, it's an exchange. Students learn all about Canada. They learn about the connections. They learn about the approach. And this, as an ambassador, makes my job infinitely easier, because what it does is it creates thousands of ambassadors for the country and for the partnerships that persist between our two great nations. So, you know, all I would say basically is we have this new approach, this new strategy. We want to hear from you what's working today, what's not working, how can we improve the situation, how can we encourage much more interplay, much more exchange. We're looking at new projects, new partnerships, and how can we really step up the interaction. On our development side, we're trying to use our modest development funds to reinforce education and training, and we announced a few $1 million just recently when our former foreign minister was here on vocational training, particularly in areas outside Cairo and Upper Egypt. So this is definitely an emphasis for us, and I would underline that it has to be a dynamic and strong partnership where both sides benefit. I don't like a scenario where we're just sending students for education in Canada. I think these partnerships, and you mentioned Cape Breton and University of Ottawa and all of the others with whom your institutions are engaging, this is a very powerful thing where teachers and students and researchers come together and together sharing ideas, exchanging ideas, that can only lead to great prosperity for both. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for hosting, and I hope that we can have a discussion about where we're going to go. Thank you very much.
All right, I would like to call for Mr. Muhammad Ali for his speech.
So thank you very much, Dr. Al-Kadi and Ambassador, for your opening remarks and for the support to this conversation. And special thanks to the guests who came over here. As Ambassador mentioned, this is a very open discussion, very informal conversation with the objective of analyzing where we are in terms of educational cooperation between Canada and Egypt. What are those areas that we are currently exploring in this sector? What others are doing, so maybe how these things are being managed by the British educational system or the American educational system or Australians and whatnot, and how can we improve? What should be our next steps? So that's the whole concept in this conversation. I just want to give you quick figures or facts about Canadian education. As you all know already, Canadian education is consistent, high quality of education throughout the country. All educational institutions are geared towards that. Academic credentials are valued worldwide. Canada consistently invests highly in education according to the OECD Education at a Glance 2014. Canada invests more into its colleges and universities every year than any other OECD member country. According to the OECD Education at Glance again, Canadian colleges and universities invest the most per capita on student services than institutions in any other OECD member country. Canadian universities are linked to international community through numerous active agreements facilitating the exchange of students, faculty, staff, and curricula, joint research, and joint degree programs. So it's very important for us, and then we are already pursuing all those different areas for collaboration, and I think there is lots of room for improvement between in this relationship between Canada and Egypt. Canada is one of the 7 OECD countries where tertiary attainment rates for women are higher than those for men by at least 10 percentage points, with 58% of women holding a tertiary qualification compared with 47% of men. Again, according to another survey, IECEF Agent Barometer, a survey of over